phone call.
Okay. All right. So you're going to watch. Very good. So I will go ahead and start the process. I'm recording the session, so you can use the video later if you wish. Okay. So what we are going to do today is we are going to set up a local network. We will install the client on the local machine, compile the contracts. We will do a deployment. We will observe the effects in the local clarity as well as perform a query. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start at the beginning. I've already done the git clone, but I will do it here as well, just for the benefit of recording.
Yep.
Hey, Meta, you cloned that inside Casper Labs already.
Oh shit, did I make a mistake? Okay.
So if you want to do it fresh, I would just Control C, CD ... and then rm-rf your Casper Labs directory. And then do the clone. You're welcome.
Okay. I'm not going to install Docker. I already have Docker installed, so I'm going to pull the images from Docker. So Docker pull, Casper Labs, node, dev. We are using dev, which is the latest branch. If you want to use latest, the tag latest will pull the last released version. And I am doing this on a Macintosh computer, so Linux will be slightly different. Okay, we've got the node. We're going to pull the execution engine. Going to set our Casper Labs version to dev. This is due to a small version mismatch. And now we're going to get the client. Why is my download speed so bad? Yuck.
And it looks like you're getting a meg a minute.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Or super fast if you were about 20 years ago.
Oh. Less than a meg. I need to have a talk with my provider.
Are you on your wireless, Meta?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we'll set the alias here just.
Just note, Meta, the alias, it applies the same as an export. So
Okay.
if you go jumping around terminals, you'll have to do it again.
Yeah.
But for this, you really shouldn't have to leave this terminal.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just do all the client work on this side, and then we'll do the. We should be able to just do all the node work here completely.
Yeah, you can do everything in one spot.
Okay, so now we're going to check the Casper Labs version. So we're just going to call Casper Labs client -- version. And this will confirm that it's running in its correct version. So we do need .10 for the purposes of what we're doing today. Okay, and so the next thing we're going to do is we can compile the contracts next. So we're going to go into CD, Casper Labs, execution engine, make setup, and then we're going to do make, build, example contracts. And this will build the example contracts that are in the execution engine project.
I saw the backend TOS stuff was fixed. So you shouldn't have to do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw a Kosh push a change.
Oh, that was efficient of him. So you can just remove that from the instructions then.
Yeah. We can verify just to make sure, but I'm pretty sure I saw it go through earlier.
So we don't have to do that then. That's terrific. We won't need to make that change. Okay, great. So now we have built our contracts. And what we will do is we will start setting up the 3-node network here. So the 3-node network, to run that, you have to go into node. So if you look at the directories inside Casper Labs, you'll see there's this node directory here. It is inside, it's the hack directory. It's inside this, we're calling it hack, but it's basically a fast way to set up a network. So if you do cd hack and then cd docker. Okay, so then inside the Docker, the hack Docker directory is where we have all the scripts to set up everything for a local network. So it's very simple. You just do make node -0. So you have to make node 0 first because this is the bootstrap that sets up the genesis for the node network you're creating. So right now it's generating the validator, it's generating the keys, and it's generating actually all the 3 validators for you for a 3-node network. So here you see it's generating validator 0, 1, 2, and 3. And that's done. And next thing after this, you have to bring up the bootstrap node, which is node 0. So you do make node -0/ to bring it up. Now you can bring up your additional nodes. So make node -1 / up, node -2 / up. This brings up your other nodes. So if you do now a Docker PS, you will see that we have 3 nodes up and running. And each node has its own execution engine and the dev, and they've all connected to each other. You can also do here Docker logs -f. Is it node 0, node -1? Is it like that?
Correct.
And this shows you the logs for the node. And here you can see it's added the Genesis block. It's got an approval. So two nodes have approved the Genesis block. And you see that the nodes are paired up and connected to each other. So we can do Control C to get out of this. The next thing we will do is we will deploy the counter defined contract. The counter defined contract is a example contract. Well, the next thing we should do is we should run Clarity, right? Let's run Clarity next. So from here, if you do is it just make up, right? And this will install your own block explorer. And then let's talk, while that's going, we'll talk about the contract. So the counter defined contract, this contract creates, it installs the contract into the global state and then creates this little counter that you can increment. So every time you call counter call, it invokes, it basically increments this counter, the counter within the data structure within the counter defined contract, just this little counter that increments. And it uses our unforgeable references to reference that data. So it actually leverages the one of the architectural features of the Casper Labs platform. Once this process is done, you'll see here we're installing Prometheus and Grafana as well, so these can be monitored. In addition to the gRPC web proxy and the Clarity block explorer. Did he build some of this stuff from Golang in Go? Looks like he did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the gRPC web proxy is something he, I'm not sure if he forked it, but it's something that he utilized from a third party.
Well, I'm all for not writing from scratch.
For sure.
Reuse whenever you can.
Open source for a reason.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting to note that a lot of people really struggle with integrating different pieces of software and figuring out how it is they work together. Takes time.
I got a story about that, but we can talk about it offline.
Mm-hmm.
My senior design project went that way.
Mm-hmm.
Professor found it hilarious.
It's the reality.
Said you're the only person who figured out that you didn't have to write the whole thing.
Yep. Okay, there we go. So now we can go to localhost. So you can go to localhost 8443 and you will see here whoops. No, it's not going to be there because I rebooted the network. So this is a new instance of the Block Explorer. So if you see here and you look at the Explorer, you'll see there's just the Genesis block, and that's the block we just created. So if we remember, if it's 9F3C79E, and if we scroll all the way up here and we look at the Genesis block that we constructed, you will see here that the block is 9F3C7908. So you can see here that that is the block that we are observing here in the Explorer. So this is a visual representation of the network that you're running locally on your machine. So
Sorry. I've got 400 bad request at localhost 8443. What happened?
yes, localhost 8443. That's correct. Yep. That's exactly where you'll see it. Okay, you can see that the URL is right there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and we're going to deploy our contracts. We've compiled the contracts. We're going to deploy the contracts. So I'm just going to paste the command here. What we are using here, we're using the faucet account here. This way it's faster. We don't have to use a transfer function or anything, but you can also do account transfers and create accounts here. There's keys that are generated as part of the Docker node setup, but you can always use the faucet account to do your deployments. And the compiled contracts land up in this path here. And of course, we're running the counter define contract first. And here you can see our deploy was successful. And so after the deployment, we're going to go ahead and do a block proposal using the Casper Labs client. And so here we're going to call for proposal. You can also set up this network with auto propose equals on. The environment variable to do that is described in GitHub here. So if you see here, there's a way to set up these nodes with export CL enabled equals true. If you run that, then this network will automatically propose when it gets a deployment. So here you can see we've got block 7D, 4DB78. So we can go into Clarity here now, and if we just refresh, here you go, you'll see that the new block is here. We can click on this block, and we can go learn something about the deployment and see whether it was successful. So here you can see the deployment was successful. You can see the deploy hash and the cost. So now that we know that this deployment worked, we can go back over here and we can now do a counter. We can try to do a query. So let's do the first query we have here. So we're going to do a query here, and we're going to use the account ID here. So we'll get the hash of the latest block. So I'm going to formulate this, and let's get the hash of the latest block. So we want to remove this here. So what we're attempting to do right now is we're attempting to identify what is the value stored in the counter/count variable within the system? So what I expect to get back is that the value is going to be 0. And the account ID for the faucet, can I just use $ account ID? Is that going to be sufficient? Tom, you're muted.
Sorry. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
The $ account ID is sufficient, right?
If you have exported before, which it looks like you just did, it should be fine. Yep.
Okay. So here we go. We got the int value of 0. If I repeat this exercise and I use the Genesis hash, you'll get a null value. And what that means is that that contract did not exist at Genesis, right? So if we go back in here and we change the block hash to the Genesis hash, you'll get invalid argument, value not found, name counter not found in account at path. So what that means is that it can't find the contract because the contract wasn't deployed, right? But in the latest block, it's there. So the next thing we're going to do now is we're going to call counter call, which is the little contract that increments the counter value. So we should expect it for each time that we do this deployment, we will see the counter go up by 1. So it's done the deployment. And now we're going to, I'm just going to scroll up here and do the propose. And we see that we've got the block. So we'll grab the hash of that block and we'll run a query. There we go. For counter/count. And you can see that the int value is now 1. And so each time I run a deployment, I will see that integer value go up by 1. And if we refresh, whoops. I really do hate the scrolling problem in this thing. If we refresh, we'll see that there's a third block here, which is the hash 11249DA9BB548C. Which is the latest block that was just proposed by the validator. So there you have it. So today we did the state query. We deployed a contract to our local network. We can do Docker logs if you want to go ahead and see the logs. I'll just scroll up here. And you can see the logs of node 1. And you'll see here that the node logs indicate that they're adding these blocks to the DAG, and you can see that each of the nodes are operating. Very simple, 30 minutes. Any questions?
そもそも動かない。
どこで止まる？
一番最初のコンパイルじゃないな。なんだっけ。キーが存在しないっていうエラーで落ちる。
シェアできるならシェアがいいかもしれない。
何番目ですか？
何番目っていうか。アカウント ID を設定しようとして、キーが存在しませんっていうエラーで落ちる。
そういうことか。
Go ahead.
We can't make account ID because I have no keys. Account ID.
Keys, なんて言うんだろう。
That's correct. So you don't have keys. I mean, in this particular demo, there aren't keys. So we just use the faucet account, which comes with the node by default. But Tom, you want to walk me through where to find the keys on the node if there's additional keys they want to use?
Yeah, sure. So like we could do a transfer or something if you want to
Sure, let's try the transfer.
transfer
Yeah.
a balance.
このエラーが出てき
Um, it's going to be a little harder because I got to stare through your screen, but we can figure it out. So to perform a transfer, we're going to need the 64-bit representation of the person we are transferring to.
Right. The clarity does not allow you to create accounts, right, in the network.
Not on this, not in this instance. No, this is
Correct.
more just so you can view and things
Yeah,
like that.
that's right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the keys.
Yeah. So the best way to do that is to see who's bonded because they're the other 3 nodes that we can transfer to.
Yep.
So if you look at right there where you are, if you scroll down a little bit on that clarity.
Mm-hmm. Oh, in the clarity? Okay.
Yeah, a little bit further down. Scroll up a little bit. Oh, you know what? There's a fix we need to put in. So it's using an old version, but we can fix that. On your screen, on the terminal rather,
Mm-hmm.
if you VI Docker Compose, yep. Scroll down to where Explorer and gRPC are. Perfect. A little bit further right there. So change that image, Casper Labs gRPC web proxy. Add a colon and then dev.
Oh, okay. For the latest changes.
Yeah, and then scroll down a little bit further and do the same for Explorer. I think Explorer uses latest by default.
Yeah.
And I'll submit a bug fix to
Does it
So
need
you-
to be? It doesn't necessarily need to be dev, though. I mean, I mean, latest.
in this case we want it to be dev, but I'll submit a bug fix to respect that export that you did. So if you export latest or dev or anything else, it'll follow that.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yep, for sure. Remove that T there.
Hold on. Trying to get to delete. There we go.
What you're saying is we have to add the tag named dev.
We're gonna
Right.
fix that. We're gonna fix that.
We'll fix it so you won't have to do this part.
Okay.
I'm just
And
looking for a feature that's not exposed so I can use it.
okay, so I need to now reboot the.
Just do
Explorer.
make up -D. Probably make up just works in general, actually. You probably don't need the -D. Yeah. So that's it, pulling the rest of the stuff.
Okay. But the validator IDs that are listed in that feature are, they're the right representation though? Are they the hex?
I believe they are. If they're not, we can probably get them from show blocks as well. If not, I'll have to
You
do
could probably
some-
just do it from show
fan-
block right now. Show block probably faster.
Yeah, show blocks would probably be faster. I'm not
Okay.
sure what they represent. That's the thing when they're all different. I got to find where they actually are.
I think it is the representation in show blocks is the key, the account ID.
Yeah, for some reason I feel like it's the
other one?
the hex, yeah, not the 64.
Okay, so if we go down,
これとは足りなくね、ファイルが。
there we go. So here's a new feature here. Select a block to see its details. And here below, we can see the different validators, right? So,
Yeah, so unfortunately that's not the one I wanted.
yep. This is a real problem. We need to fix that.
Yeah. I thought there's a bug. It's just obviously been deprioritized for more important things.
Host. host, local host, show blocks. Hold on a second.
We can get it actually. Now that I think about it, I know where it is. It took me a second. Just Control C that,
Okay.
and then do just Control C. Do cat keys slash tab tab, and then let's pick one. Pick account 1.
Okay.
Sorry, we don't have a key directory. How to get this directory?
It'll be created when you run make node 0.
Uh-huh.
When you run the network, remember I showed you how it was making the keys all the way up here.
I'll add it in the chat window.
See here, we got the node here, validator identity. Wait, where is it?
We have to make.
See right here? See right here, it's generating keys. This is when it creates the keys for you. So you need only to do make node 0, and as part of making the node 0, it creates these keys. And you see this gen account keys, faucet account? So it generates the keys for you, and the location of those keys is like what we're showing you right here.
Yeah. So Meta, if you could cat the account, just tab for me. I'll tell you the real name. Tab. There it is. So just do account ID.
Hex, just account ID?
Just ID, yeah. Yep, cat that. Yeah, so we'll need that part all the way to the equal sign.
Yep. Including the equal sign?
Including the equal sign, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So let's just store that. And then to do a transfer, the way it's going to look is you're going to do Casper Labs client.
Hold on a second, I need to pull up my notepad because otherwise I'm going to lose this, whatever I've stored here. Just give me a second. Notepads are the most important things when you're working with servers.
I have 100 tabs open on my notepad.
I know. Okay, Casper Labs client.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it's going to be -- host. In this case, we'll just use localhost. We don't have to worry about a port. It'll be default. So you can do transfer, then space -A. And then this is the amount that you're going to use. So in this case, do something, I don't know, low, or I wouldn't do big because I'm not positive how much is there, but low. Do like 1,000. 1,000's fine.
Okay.
And then you're going to do a -T. And -T is the target account. So that's the account that we just copy and pasted. So I would quote that just because there's some weird characters in there and you never know how it's going to interact. Yep. And then you're going to do -- private key. And it's private -key. And then here you're going to do since the faucet account is the only one that has any tokens, we're going to target that account. So it'll be keys.
Is it /keys or just keys?
Just keys. Tab. Faucet tab. And then the private key is called, just tab it out. It'll show us what's there. Account. It's probably account -private. Yep. So that one. And then the last thing is actually 2 more things. -- payment -amount. So for this guy, you'll do the one with the 7 zeros. And then -- gas price. And you can just give it something like, by default, I think it's always 10, so you can use 10.
Is it gas
Price? Yeah, you have it right. Yep. So that should do it.
Okay.
And you'll have to propose that.
Bear with me. Here we go. Okay.
And then
So
let's
you-
just check that it was good.
Oh, yep.
Make sure I didn't screw anything up.
It's good.
Yep. Yep. So then we can query the balance of that account. And this is the part you're going to hate. So you're going to need now the hex representation of it,
Of the account.
of that account, the account one.
Okay, but we could probably get that from here, right?
You can get it from there. You can also just, same thing you did earlier with the cat keys, just add,
The
just do
account
up.
ID to hex.
Yeah, just do up, probably 2 ups on your up arrow there. There you go. And add the dash hex. Yep. So that's the one we're going to use.
Okay.
And the way we query a balance is Casper Labs client. We're going to need the latest block. So grab the block hash from whatever's the latest one there in the.
I've got it right
Explorer.
here.
Oh,
I got
perfect.
it right here.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's perfect. So you're going to do Casper Labs client. And then you're going to do -- host and localhost. And then do balance.
Just balance.
And then -A. And then let me just verify 100%. I believe A is the, yeah, so A is definitely the account. So the account that you just copied
In
there.
quotes or no? In quotes,
You
right?
won't need it in this case, but it won't hurt it either, I don't think.
Okay.
And then -B, and that'll be the block hash.
Yep. There you
1000.
go. There you go.
Yep. So that's just a simple example of how you can transfer tokens from one account to another. You can also, if you created all these keys yourself using the Docker wrapper that we have, for example, you can transfer tokens to that as well, because if the key doesn't exist, the node will create it. We'll create the account for it.
Yes, the other thing that they can do if they want to set up a network with their own custom keys, if they don't want to use this, is you can always go to the production version of Clarity and you can create your keys here and you can create an accounts.csv and go through the Genesis process, which is actually pretty easy to do. It's not terribly hard to do that.
They could also use those keys in this example as well, since if they have access to those keys on their machine, they can transfer tokens to them, and the network will realize that the account doesn't exist and will create it for them.
Yes. I don't know why it's doing that. That rendering is a problem. It's irritating.
I think it's just because you have it slid over like that. If you make it full screen, it'll probably go away. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you can create these keys here. You can download them, then you can SCP them to, or push them to your Docker. The Genesis process uses a file called accounts.csv. And the accounts.csv is part of the release packages. There's a generic one that's there, but you can also overwrite it and create your own custom Genesis. It's in, if you go into Casper Labs, it's in Node, isn't it? I think it's in Node Genesis. not exactly sure where it is in Genesis, but it lives in Node Genesis. If you look at the structure of the node, that's where there's an accounts.csv file that is what it uses to build the Genesis block. So if you want to specify which accounts your validators are using, then you can do it that way by just putting the keys on all the different Dockers and then setting up the accounts.csv in the Docker, in the node 0 Docker container. You have additional questions? Hey, Leon, how are you?
Hi, Meta. Sorry, I'm joining late.
Oh, that's okay. It's fine. You were up pretty late last night.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is a local net, like local dev net, not connected to the test net, right?
That's right. Yep. This is a local dev net. We demonstrated how to actually run a local dev net today.
All right. Yeah.
It's kind of cool because it also includes the Explorer too. So there's a way to run the Explorer locally as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, it's cool. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's super cool. It's really easy with the Docker setup. I've recorded the session, so I'll post this in the Discord. So if you guys join the Discord, you can get to the videos as well. I'll push it to YouTube and put it on the Discord so you can see it.
Very cool. Very cool. So for the DevNet locally, can the network be run with just one validator?
For locally, yeah, you
Yes.
can run it. Well, you don't want to run it with one. You don't want to necessarily run it with one node, but you can run a 3-node Docker network. It's pretty easy. You could even run a 2-node Docker network if you just want to do 2 nodes.
Okay. So
I
I mean,
guess you can do it with a single node if you want. I don't see any reason
Oh.
why you couldn't just do it with a single node, the Bootstrap.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty easy. We had the network set up in 30 minutes and had done the deploy and transaction in half an hour.
Very nice. Very nice. I'll definitely will check out the videos and try to work.
Yeah, sounds good. Broadly, if you have any more questions, is there anything I can help you with? No? Sounds good?
Windows だと全くコマンドが動かなかった。というか、もう私、Linux 切り替えてやろうと思ってるんですけど、多分、申し訳ない。今日の準備できなくて、申し訳なかった。
Sorry, we can catch up to your session, but I'd like to retry after this session, and I'd like to ask you in Slack channel.
Okay, I've put the instructions, the step-by-step instructions on the shared Slack channel, so you should be able to get to them there. It's very step-by-step. It has all the commands there. It should be pretty easy.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank
Leon,
you.
is there?
Thanks.
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 All right, see you guys.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.